We're recording live. This is Elise and Janet for Healing Mama Hearts. And we are making a video today because we want to, again, share our message on what our goals are. We have big goals, guys. We want to help as many women as we can out there. One of our biggest goals, again, is to build those sanctuaries. We really want to build a place that women can go to heal from postpartum depression and the symptoms of that, because it can be overwhelming. So that's our main goal, and as we build toward that, we want to help women as we talk to each other and help each other out. So today we're going to talk about asking for help, how to ask for help when you need help. So some of the symptoms of that are just the negative thoughts in our brains that tell us everybody else has gone through this, we should be able to do it too, and that's not true. Other thoughts can be other people are too busy, they don't care, or it'll be too hard, for them to stop their lives to come help us or help me, and those can be the negative thoughts that we've talked about before. The symptoms of depression can be negative thoughts that are overwhelming and just stop us from progressing.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Elise. The feelings of that you're drowning and that you're just sinking in overwhelmment are the feelings that you get when you haven't reached out. You haven't been able to reach out and get help from people around you. So we could even talk about the different kinds of help that a person might be needing. Sometimes it's just call, emotional support, and you just want to call your mom or your sisters or a counselor or somebody and just go ahead and be understood. And sometimes it's financial help that you might need or informational help, so there's different kinds of needs and different kinds of help that a person might need. But we're going to deal with the type of help that a mom would need and how she could ask for that help, what she needs to do to be heard. And like you said, she may need to work past the negative thoughts, because there's so many times that we just assume that nobody would have time to help us, and we start judging ourselves so badly that we think others are judging us. They're gonna feel this way or that way, but the negative thoughts are kind of part of being overwhelmed, and the anxiety of asking somebody for help is kind of part of that overwhelmment and depression and anxiety.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That feeling of being judged. We feel like, if I told anybody what I was actually going through, they would just be so judgmental. And that's what I love about our group, is that we can talk and other people are like, oh my goodness, I'm going through that same thing. And we're not alone. That's one thing that's very depressing, is to feel alone in something.
So at least there's Ronald Reagan had a quote that said, one person cannot help everybody. I might be quoting this a little bit wrong, but everybody can help one person. Like, we want it to be kind of just a trickle down. Like, I may not be able to help you every time you need help, but when I can help just one person, then you are stronger when somebody else needs help from you. And it kind of just pay it forward type of thing, almost, right?
Right.
So the thing that we really want to encourage the people watching this video, so the moms, even us grandmas, get to need help, and we need to be able to ask. But the thing we want to encourage you guys is to be okay reaching out and asking. Like, if I call Elise up and say, Elise, I have a really bad headache, I am in need of some help. if Elise can't do it, say she's sick as well, maybe she's in the tub soaking and sick as can be, she might know of somebody else. So she might say, well, hey, I'm not in a place that I can help you right now, but how would it be if I called so and so? I have a friend that maybe would be in a place that she can run over there and help you or whatever. So first, Elise would probably say, what kind of help do you need? Do you need somebody to drive you to the doctor's office, or do you need someone to come help clean or take care of something that you're supposed to be doing? Um, but the biggest thing is just asking, reaching out, because the more people you talk to about that feeling of just sinking and being overwhelmed, and then the more chance that you will find somebody that can help with whatever the need is, whether it's emotional support, informational support, or instrumental support, like a ride somewhere, or even financial help, or, anything like that. So,
And I think that, like, as you're listing all those things, it just reminds me that it can feel so overwhelming that people say, I don't even know how to ask or what to ask help for, because you have so many responsibilities coming at you. So my thought was, write it down. Write down all the things that you're responsible for, and then separate it into two lists. What can I handle? What can I do? And what are the things that I can't handle? What are the things I need help with? Because if you don't solidify them and make them categorized into certain things, like laundry is just over my head. Who can I call that would be willing to come and help with laundry? You know, that kind of thing, where you really have to whittle it down, because if you think about the entire scheme, it's overwhelming.
yeah. Or at least I love the fact, when it's just so crazy in your brain and you're not sure where to start, to write it down, and then call your family members around you and just say, hey, this is the list of things that are just too much for me. Maybe your husband or your mother or mother-in-law or sisters or brothers. And then you can kind of delegate what people's strengths are. Like, for instance, if somebody called me to help and there was a list, and I got to pick off what I wanted on that list, that would be really cool to go, hey, there's these options. I definitely wouldn't pick cooking for somebody, right? I just wouldn't pick that unless I was the only one there but for their sake, I wouldn't pick. But I could go in and clean. I could go in and clean, or I could go listen, and I could do a lot of things, or babysit or whatever. But also, along with the list of things, how often you're going to need it. Sometimes you only need it for a couple of months or a week or a day. So is this an ongoing thing? Is this something that you need? I really liked, Elise, how you set up that. Was it a you started on Facebook a group for helping this family where their dad or their husband was in the military. I really appreciated that because you made it really simple. You said, okay, these are all their needs. If you just do it, we have this many people that are willing to help this family out. And if you guys are willing to just do this once, I think my time was like, it was a couple months ago. Was it every 3 months for somebody or something to check in on this family?
Yeah, we had so many people willing to help that it ended up being that for the whole year that the dad was gone, you only had to check in twice. You only had to
In the
check,
whole year?
yeah, for the whole year. You had a two times that that I would contact that person and say, hey, can you check in on them? And even that, I thought, that's not, that's so easy. That's so easy, too
Yeah.
easy. And I even made a second list of, so the first list was for dinners. Everyone was taking this family a dinner once a week. And then I made a second list so that everyone would at least be in contact with her 4 times in a whole year. Because I thought 2 times in a whole year, that's not a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
But
And her particular needs, she can't really get out and get in touch with us. So we kind of needed to go in, and because she has little ones, a lot of little ones, and so she's kind of homebound. And so that was another thing that her needs were particularly, we needed to go in there. Like it was really hard for her to meet other people in other places. So one of the things, though, Elise, that I wanted to bring out is um, so many times we've heard people say, hey, if you need anything, call me. Like it's not specific enough. And so you almost need to be specific and say, like, if I notice that Elise is struggling, hey, can I babysit for you for 2 hours on one of the days this week? Can I do, something for you for 2 hours? Or maybe when I say, maybe if I just throw out there, hey, Elise, if you need anything, call me, maybe Elise gets out her list and goes, would you like to do this or this? Because and would either of those things work for you? And would either of those times work for you?
yeah,
And the asker needs to be so okay with, you know what, today just is too crazy for me. You know, we have to not feed that negative thought or process in our brain. Oh, see, now Elise doesn't really, she's judging me or she doesn't want to help me. We've got to be okay with, no, her day is just as crazy as my day, or she's struggling just as hard as me.
yeah. Also, one thought that I've learned over the years, when you're the asker, when you are asking someone, hey, if you need anything, call me. Um, we used back when we would visit a lot of members at church. Often, I noticed that we would say that a lot, but then they would never call. And so, what I started to do was when I visited people, I would say, "What trials are you going through right now?" And like, what's your hardest trial right now? What's your biggest not problem,
Obstacle, maybe.
yeah, what's the biggest obstacle you're facing right now? And they would talk, and as they were doing it, I would be thinking of ways, okay, what could I do to help this problem? What could I do to help alleviate something? That as I was listening, I'd be trying to think of something that I could do, and then I would offer that thing. And I would try to never say that phrase, call me if you need anything, because they don't.
Because they don't, they
No,
won't. And
they
I
won't.
love, did you ever get in overwhelmment because you were helping? Did you ever help too much? Have you ever been able to say no when somebody contacted you, or in your mind you're like, oh, that person needs so much help? Were you able to walk away from things if you are in overwhelmment too?
Yeah, that's such an important skill to have. Um, yes, I was pregnant at one point, and the lady I was visiting was pregnant, and she really needed help cleaning. So I contacted our Relief Society president, which is the lady who is in charge of all the women at church. And so that way I was able to find someone to come help her clean. And
Nice.
because I was already pregnant and had kids, and but I was able to be a resource to get her some help.
Yeah, information support. Like you're like, hey, this is the phone number for somebody that can. I really love that. We were talking about how you'd set up a group on Facebook. There's also apps that are called here's an app that's called Lots of Helping Hands. This helps you receive and organize support from people. And here's another app, the Mighty or the Riley app. So these are different ways that you can, like, if all kinds of, like, I've got to plan a wedding reception, and I've had so many people say, oh, what can I do to help you? And I'm just like, all this stuff that needs to happen is just floating around in my brain. So I'm going to get on one of these apps and see if I can figure out a way to organize and set it up, or just do my old fashioned lists on paper. But Elise, I love this conversation, and I do know that we haven't covered everything. There's going to be so many things that'll strike, our words will strike more ideas in people that are watching this video. So this is just a start, and I would love, love, love it if we get some feedback. Like somebody watched it clear to the end and was able to give us feedback. It is getting, I hope it isn't too long. What's that, Elise?
Yeah, make comments on this
Yes.
video or make your own video and talk about
Yes.
experience with asking for help.
Yes, I agree. I love it. Thank you so much, Elise.